And welcome back. So for those of you interested in a session on Think Data Works, Power Your Decision Science with clean, accessible data, please head over to the Government of Canada cyberspace, where this conversation will be starting shortly. And our next use case comes from Benji Coetzee, live on this stage. She is the Director Digital Tribe Lead at VodafoneZiggo. And she will be asking assistance, augmentation, or automation. What is the future for human-machine relationships? And I'm looking very forward to see Benji speaks again. Welcome to the stage, Benji.
Hello, thank you, Stephanie. To jump straight in, I will share my screen with everyone. And let's go there. And then straight into it. So thank you everyone for joining. My name is Benji Coetzee and I'm the Director for Digital at VodafoneZiggo. It is a joint venture between Vodafone from Vodafone Group and of Ziggo from Liberty Global. And today I'll try to take you through how we're moving from aggregated intuition into artificial intelligence, i.e. the relationship between humans and machines. So a little bit about me. I'm the very privileged tribe lead to service both sales and service on our digital channels for both B2B and B2C. A very diverse number of channels that we support, given that we have 2 brands and a lot of legacy behind it. So the only way that we can get ahead and stay ahead is to leverage smart machine learning and AI. So a bit about VodafoneZiggo, just quickly. We are currently the top mobile provider in the country. And of course, with Ziggo, one of the most aggressive challenges within the fixed space. We have a very big converged play within the market, or a quad play. We have over 9 offices in the country and near 7,500 employees and 5 main brands under our 2 parents. Now, our ambition. So everything that we're currently doing is to become the digital telco of the future. What does that mean? We are transforming the way that we engage not only with our customer, but also with our people, and leveraging technology in everything that we do. That is automating as much as we can, and that is from the IT processes right up to the front end for the customer and how they engage with us, how we help them solve their problems, find the right offers, etc. We are always customer-centric first. We're completely data-driven. We might have a bit too much data at the moment, but we try to do everything with a digital-first mindset. So the first touch point always to be digital. We enable all of that obviously through an agile way of work, continuous integration, continuous development mindset, automating everything, and especially. So now to get to the talk. So you might know Janus, the Roman god with 2 faces. And why I wanted to share this today is because he was the god of duality. And for me, AI is very much being a duality of a purpose. So what we look to the back, what we look historically to, and what we look into the future is all based on previous experiences and how we can analyze those experiences to predict the future. And Janus was either called on to at birth, so the starting of someone's life, or also at the end of someone's life. So he is the king of duality, and if there was a god for AI, it would probably have been him. So when we talk about artificial intelligence and the human-machine interaction in the future, there's obviously a good side to AI and there's a bad side to AI. And it all comes down to the ethics and how we leverage the data, and obviously respecting our customers' privacy, regardless of what regulations are out there. The regulations, to me, we always say that is the extent, or that is the boundary. We should never ever hit even the boundary of that ethical nature or use of the data. Of course, right now, one of the most trending series that you can watch, or documentaries you can watch, is The Social Dilemma or The Great Hack. And of course, there's a lot of opinions about this, but also at the same time, there's also a lot of great things that AI have brought to us. At VodafoneZiggo, we take the customer data privacy extremely seriously. We have a multitude of governance boards within the company as well, of what we're able to leverage and what we're not allowed to leverage for commercial use or not, or just for customer experience and for the benefit of the customer, i.e. ensuring that they have the right hardware available in their house, that they get the right connectivity, they get the right proposition. They also don't miss out on the wrong discounts and offers that we can give to them. So, of course, AI needs a lot of historical data to be trained, to actually be efficient and to be useful. So for us in VodafoneZiggo, we have such an immense amount of data when it comes to the network and to the hardware and to the performance of that hardware and to optimize that. But how do we use that to either define new products and also to resolve problems within the network and make smart strategic investments from the CapEx chain that eventually will hit our customer and their experience, and of course, how much they enjoy working with us. But over and above that, we also have an immense amount of data on conversations held with all of our call centers. And how do we analyze those conversations? Of course, and how we can use those conversations is also very limiting at times. However, some chat conversations using normal natural language processing we've used to already articulate and to teach our bot to become a little bit more smarter than just a concierge service. But when we also listen into our customers within the call centers, how do we analyze those voices for pitch, for tone, to try and see if we can detect certain sentiments and how we can potentially reduce churn or reduce the unhappiness of a customer. It's a little bit more difficult within the Dutch market, within the Netherlands, because our subset is very small of Dutch-speaking individuals. So therefore, it's a bit too flawed for us to really truly analyze voice to predict sentiment and intent. A human will always be better there. So there's two main fields that we try and focus on AI within VodafoneZiggo. One is the machine-to-machine relationship, and of course, the second is the machine-to-the-human relationship. Within the machine-to-machine, like I mentioned, we have so much data which relates to our network and to our hardware within the field. And those log files, we leverage AI models to predict certain maintenance requirements so that we can be more efficient, effective, and obviously save some costs. On machine-to-human, the most that we're currently using on the AI side there is either to help the customer to understand what hardware he needs or to understand his intents so that we can address a few key things. However, regardless of whether we use AI within the machine-to-machine or machine-to-human, it's always being customer-centric and the user-centric, and everything is leveraging by our data, and privacy is embedded within our design. So the main use cases we focus on is who, what, when, and where. So making sure that we approach the right customer at the right time, either with the right proposition or product, and also at the right time and also on the right channel. So for example, we have a lot of late adopters that are not that digitally savvy, also so comfortable on digital. And how do we also address them and ensure that their needs are met, considering where we are in the life cycle of being a customer. So there are three key use cases, and it's all about keeping our customer happy that I wanted to share today. And the very first one, for the right customer to be proactive, and here we, of course, talk about the bot and the front end, Toby. So moving it from a concierge to being more proactive, we're on this journey right now. Because we also have two brands, our Toby chatbot has two hats. He has to have a bit of, how can I say, schizophrenia at times. Sometimes he's a mobile bot, sometimes he's a fixed internet and entertainment bot. And that also brings a lot of complexity into the models and the predictability and the intent management, but also it also creates a lot more data for us. So it does also make it a bit more crisp and clear. We're also moving now into IVR and voice towards the Toby. So it's getting smarter and smarter as the model builds, and the intents also enhance, and the product portfolio also keeps on growing. Then second to that, obviously on the what, offering the right proposition in our sales and service channels. So once we understand what your intent is, regardless of where you come into the website or into the application, and you start either engaging with the chatbot, or even if you start engaging with certain hyperlinks or deep links within our website, we can then also we automatically identify you as a customer, as an existing customer, and then we can also start to put you into the churn predictor model automatically. So certain behaviors will then trigger the model in the back end, and that model will then also give predictive behavior on the website, and then we funnel you along and try and retain you. So it's all about retaining a happy customer. So if we see there are certain behaviors online, i.e. potentially you've clicked 3 times on Wi-Fi issue related topics or links, and we identify what type of customer you are, and we link it to a certain hardware that you've got in a certain area that's had a certain network outage at the moment. It's multiple triggers that we can say there's a high susceptibility for you potentially to churn or to cancel or to call our call center. So then to do that, we proactively then give you a phone call to say, how can we help you? What's going wrong? Can we send you the right hardware? Can we send an engineer out? So being a lot more proactive, but interlinking all of those models, i.e. knowing where the networks are, where there's a network outage, knowing what hardware you've got in your house, and then second to that, how you're behaving online potentially, or your intent recognition. That all has to happen at nano speeds to be able to say, okay, this customer is going to do X, Y, Z, engage a save agent to call this customer to make sure that they stay happy. Then over and above that, the when and the where. So being right on time onto the right channel towards the right customer. And that's all about having the right business strategy behind who we're talking to at that time. So like I just said, there's certain viewing behavior, online behavior, interactions with our call center agents or our telesales agents, what's happening on our network, and all of the various predictive models that we're running in our BICC center. And then putting that into a central decision logic to understand, okay, when and where do we trigger certain decisions. We also leverage Pega and Guru for certain next best action options, and those are shared along all channels. So our telesales agents, as well as our call center agents for service, have access to the same NBA tooling so that they can also make the right next best offer to the customer or action to the customer, and it's not only on the digital channel. So at VodafoneZiggo, we really take an augmented approach, i.e. the virtual world online and the digital channels is an extension of our physical and our real world, which is our agents and also in our stores. So we find that a really, really powerful combination of leveraging all of the various source fields of data into the various models that we've got, and ensuring that all of our internal customers, i.e. all of our employees, have the same tools to give the best experience to our customer. That being said, what we try and see, say, and do is a continual growth process as well. We are very far from perfect just yet, but we definitely see a lot of uptake in the chatbot and engagement with the chat, and also really great. We have really high hopes within the voice control sector of our bot, and then also moving on to that, leveraging more and more information from our network and from our product side, so more of the hardware based, into the softer side or the front end to the customer to really understand the customer's intent or frustrations so we can try and resolve it. And that's also breaking a lot of silos within the company, within the organization, where IT never thought that we're talking to the telesales agents on when the network is out, and how quickly that could actually trigger a customer's reactive response to potentially canceling and churning. So that's really, really powerful to also see how quickly that has brought a change into the company and part of the transformation process. But like I said, everything at the end of the day is to ensure that we acquire, maintain, and retain super happy customers, and that they get the right products. So from the human to the machine engagement, I think for us, it really is becoming an extension of all of our employees so that we can offer the right customer experience, and leveraging all the right models at the right time so that the customer's information is not only used ethically, but also used for their best interest and not always just for commercial interest. So the future is really exciting. And if you have any questions, I will be in the plenary session.
Benji, great to see you on stage again, and thank you so much. Super interesting to hear how you talk about AI duality using past experience, and you have a lot at VodafoneZiggo to predict the future and help mostly customers to be happy by indicating, hey, what goes wrong maybe in that customer journey and how we can turn that right. So if you have any questions for Benji, please follow her into the lounge networking/speaker Q&A room, and the link to that room will be dropped into the open chat session again. So please follow